Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss our next topic, behavioral theory of leadership. And our learning objectives are, by the end of this unit, students will be able to understand the concept of behavioral theory of leadership and what kind of leaders are they and what kind of leaders they want to be and how to bridge that gap through their behavior. So behavioral theory of leadership, the two most common theories will come up every time when we talk about behavioral theories: Michigan theory studies and Ohio State leadership studies. So the behavioral theory of leadership focuses on how a person's environment, not natural abilities, forms him or her into a leader. One of the key concept of behavioral theory is conditioning. So what is conditioning? Conditioning, classical conditioning, it is learning through association and was discovered by Pavlov, a Russian psychologist. In simple terms, two stimuli are linked together to produce a new learned response in a person. So it is called conditioning. So conditioning states that a person will be more likely to act or lead in a certain style as a result of environmental responses to behavior. Behavioral leadership theory is conducted by scientifically evaluating the moods and actions of individuals in leadership roles to adopt patterns that may impact you. Sorry about that. And the environment around your team members. So here are types of behavioral leaders. The first type is task-oriented leaders. Task-oriented leaders are primarily concerned with the system and structure that lets them carry out their work. This includes everything from tasks description to standard operating procedures, organizational and team structure, communication lines, and so on. And task-oriented leaders don't ignore their employees as humans. They are always concerned with motivating their team despite their primary focus being on systems. Task-oriented leaders exhibit the following behaviors: initiating, organizing, and clarifying, and information gathering. And people-oriented leaders, this one, unlike task-oriented leader, this group puts more effort into seeing to the human needs of their team and motivating them through that. It's not that they don't focus on the task or system, they just put more time and behavioral focus on their team as a people with wants and needs. For example, let's say that your team is having a problem. Someone hasn't managed to get their work done on time. So a task-oriented leader would dive into your processes to see if the problem could be prevented in the future or whether an SOPs wasn't followed properly. A people-oriented leader would behave differently, going straight to the employee and asking if there was any way that they could help and what caused the problem. People-oriented leader expect the following behaviors: encouraging, observing, listening, coaching, and mentoring. Participative or democratic leadership. It is also called democratic leadership, and participative leaders are those who consult their entire team when creating systems and methods for achieving the team goals. This means that work becomes much more collaborative, allowing the entire team to take part ownership of their work and the procedures behind it. By including the team in the decision making process, team leader help them to understand their work, why it matters, and motivate them to take appropriate actions. And participative leaders expect the following behaviors: communicating, collaborating, being to open to feedback, and delegating. Indifferent leaders, these are the most ineffective as they display behavior entirely dedicated to preserving their position and department from scrutiny. Okay, and this will usually manifest in having very little contact with their teams, dodging tasks whenever possible, putting severe pressure on their team to meet targets, no matter the cost, and so on. As such, they are at the lowest point of the managerial grade model. They have little concern for the people under their care for the or the production of their team. As long as they keep their job, they don't care about others. And indifferent leader expect the following behaviors: evading. Evading means avoiding answers, procrastinating, and lack of communication. And self-preservation. Okay, our next type is country club leaders. Country club leaders were also identified in the managerial grid model. Unlike indifferent leaders, these are people who put every effort into making sure that the human elements of their team are happy and satisfied. The theory is that a happy team will naturally produce better results. So a leader putting their efforts into making their team happy will naturally see success. These leaders leads to happy teams, and healthy company culture. Art school culture. Okay. Sometimes their lack of focus on productivity means that the team output often suffer as a result. So country club leaders expect the following behaviors. They are caring, listening to feedback, quick to support employees, and involved with the team members. And they focus on employees' health and happiness involved with the team as well. So our next type is status quo leaders. These leaders, they run the middle road of employee happiness and satisfaction and getting results. So what they do, they run middle road of the employee happiness and satisfaction